first annual International Imam Mahdi alayhi salam and Nabi Eesa alayhi salam conference. This noble effort was started by Allama Al-Hajj Syed Farhat Moosavi, who is having a seat on my right side and who is going to preside today's conference. First and foremost, let me thank all of you, especially those who are participating physically in Husainiyah Masjid, Toronto, Canada, and those who are watching us online through Husainiyah.com and almahditv.com. First, I will request Allama Al-Hajj Syed Farhat Moosavi. He will start the conference by opening remarks and will mention the goals of this conference and the result which we got in the past. Now I will request him to please come to the podium and officially start this 21st Imam Mahdi alayhi salam and Nabi Eesa alayhi salam conference. Bismillah. Let us welcome him by reciting Salawat ala Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad.
Muhammad wa ala Muhammad alayhi salatu wassalam.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, I would like to welcome all of you to this conference that we have been holding for the past 21 years. The reason for this has been manifold. We started out at a time where even at that time when we began, taking the name of Imam Mahdi ﷺ was not very common amongst the Muslims. Their concept was that we might be talking about the political leaders of Sudan. They had a series of people who were called Mahdi. They took their names in that fashion. And so there was some confusion among the Muslims at that time. And the second reason was that some of the people, they said that La Mahdi illa Eesa, there is no Mahdi except Eesa alayhi salatu wasalam. This is very, very weak hadith that has come from Ibn Majah. The hadith was referring to there is no one masoom except Mahdi, and Eesa. So they chopped off the hadith, and it gives a wrong impression that during the last days, two personalities will come, and both of them will be masoom, will be infallible. And those both will be coming from the Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's intention, and they'll be coming with the verdict coming from the Almighty, the Creator, He'll be sending. And these two aspects were very common, so that's why we gave the name Imam Mahdi and Nabi Eesa alayhi salatu wasalam conference. And alhamdulillah, we have been able to achieve so many things over the period of time. This conference was heavily covered in the media in different places. Even here also we see that we constantly keep on reminding the people what we are aiming to do and how it's important for the people to remember that during the end times we will have a lot of difficulties in the world. There are predictions of different kinds. And this at the time, even at the time of a person like Ziaul Haq, when they're asking the Saudis wanted the Iran to be attacked also from that side, from Pakistan side, they flatly refused. They said the people who will be coming from Khorasan will be supporters of Imam Mahdi alayhi salam, will be the ones coming from essentially Iran. So he openly declined. He says, we are not going to attack. Actually, they could get Saddam to do that, but and for this, we had a very interesting person here, and he used to come many years till he was deported in a way, like he left America. They was not allowed to come back. His name was Zakiuddin Sharafi. He used to constantly attend the conference. His belief was that Imam Mahdi alayhi salatu wasalam was living, and we are responsible to him. And this person, he did a lot of work for us that way. The concept was made very clear that the people who will be supporting Imam Mahdi alayhi salam will be coming from the present area of Iran and Persia. And so there have been big changes that were brought about. The same Zakiuddin Sharfi, he wrote a booklet for us about the coming of Imam Mahdi alayhi salatu wasalam in Arabic. He took it, he was stopped at the airport, he had to wait for 2-3 hours to get the clearance. And once we got the clearance, because most of the ahadith were quoted from the Ahl Sunnah literature, authentic Ahl Sunnah literature. So when he was allowed to take it, he took it, he distributed it in the Jamia there in Medina, and actually he gave it even to the Imam of the Masjid. And after 2 months when he went there, the Imam who was who was doing that at that time was blind. So he said, I've been looking for you. You have been given some literature, which someone read it to me, and it's very interesting about Imam Mahdi alayhi salatu wasalam. And then he had a meeting. He did not realize that he was sent to Riyadh for a meeting, and that meeting was with the son of Farhat at that time. And this Zakiuddin Shafi, who used to come here in very difficult circumstances, even when his health was not good, and whenever he came cross over, he had difficulty at the border. So he made it very clear that once the armies, the foreign armies enter Hijaz, they would not leave, and they'll cause a lot of commotion. And he showed through the hadith. So the impact was quite such that even a person like Dr.Sakhawat, he commented about this conference in Pakistan, and he says that we know that Imam Mahdi is waiting in his ancestral home, which belongs to Sayyida Khadija Salamullah Alaiha in Makkah, and he'll be appearing. And he says this is from our Sunni perspective, not the Shia perspective. So we got a lot of help from this conference in trying to change what was happening, because the coverage of the media is the main part. We had very important people speaking. We know, like we had Ayatollah Ulama, Hafiz Bashir Qadhafi Sahab speak many times, and we are inshallah trying to get him inshallah today also. And the conference summaries that were produced, and we passed it on, and we printed it in the media, it had an impact and in such a way that now the name of Imam Mahdi ﷺ is a common name amongst the Ahl Sunnah also. And as a matter of fact, we made it very clear that when the Imam comes, no one is going to question him who made him the Imam. Where is he coming from? What committee is deciding that you are the Imam? So they all say, no, when he comes, he'll come with the full power. And that's what Zakiuddin Sharfi wrote. He says that the Khilafah will be ala minhaj al-Nabuwa. The Khilafat of the Prophet, which will come to the last Imam, alayhi salatu wasalam, would be the same as a Nabuwa, that it will be specified by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. No one would question, like Saqifa or some other place, that who made him the Khalifa. No one would have the right to question it. And we see the effect of these things is amazing, because the ordinary person, it takes a long time to convince. But those people who are at the top, those people who are at the level of intellectuals, if you can change them, then that's much, much easier to do the work. And we see in the case of Tahir al-Qadri, actually his English version of the book on Imam Mahdi al-Muntazar alayhi salam is there on the internet also. And in another book that he wrote, Saif Jali ala Munkar Wilayat Ali, he says that you have to accept the wilayat of Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam, and he came up with a different solution. He says that there are 3 different ways of remembering the Prophet of Islam. The first one is to remember him with his political life. He says the tradition that has been coming to our Prophet in the way of political traditions. The second is ruhani or spiritual ones. And the third is knowledge that has been transmitted. So he distributed the people after the Prophet, Sahaba, whoever, in these 3 categories. And he says that the first 3 caliphs were only political leaders. And that's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this is a very interesting aspect. He says, Allah allowed us to choose whoever we want to. He says it's up to you to choose anyone you want, because these are just political leaders. But in the case of the spiritual leaders, he specifically mentioned the first one was chosen at Ghadir, and it was Imam Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salatu wasalam. And the last one is Imam Mahdi alayhi salam. So he's saying that 12 Imams are the ones who have been designated by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to be the spiritual leaders after the Prophet of Islam. And then he is talking about the inheritance that comes through knowledge, and in that he mentions the Sahaba. He's talking about Ibn Abbas or Abu Huraira and others as the third category. So the most important category is the spiritual one, and the spiritual head, the first one was our first Imam, Imam Ali alayhi salam, and the 12th Imam would be the last one. So he has come up with this, and actually we see this happening lots of time in the political arena also. Whenever they come, they all talk about Imam Hussain alayhi salam, they talk about Imam Mahdi alayhi salatu wasalam. So alhamdulillah, we see that these kinds of changes have been brought about by constantly working on it and passing the information to the people, because it's easier to convince the people at the top. And even if you can convince a few people at the top about what we are saying, then we have convinced thousands of people who listen to them. And this is a whole aspect. One of the things that we usually refer to, and I have said before, is like I have a book that I have prepared in many years about Quran and Imam Zaman al-Islam, Imam Mahdi al-Islam. How many ayats are there? I know Ayatullah Allama Hashim Bahrani wrote a book also on that subject, and he had about 125 ayat with another 10 or 11 attached to them as an appendix. And when I started work, so I could find up to 250 ayats of the Holy Quran that are talking very specifically about our Imam al-Islam, Imam Mahdi al-Islam. And this is because we can get a lot more literature now than was available a few hundred years ago. Now we have literature of all kinds. As a matter of fact, every year there are books being written in Egypt, in other places, in Marrakesh and Urdun about Imam Zaman al-Islam. When I personally visited, we saw so many books there that they are writing about the Imam al-Islam. Actually, Jalaluddin Suyuti has a small booklet in that on that aspect. Al-Urf al-Ghurdi fi Akhbar al-Mahdi alayhi salatu wasalam. He's saying, taking all the important hadiths. So the other day I was looking at the internet. There's so much literature is coming out. If you look at the YouTube, maybe we'll refer to that later on. So much is coming on the YouTube now about talking about Imam Zaman al-Islam. They're taking very clearly the hadiths from Ahl al-Bayt, from Bihar al-Anwar and other places. And they might be separating. Sometimes they separate the Shia aspect of it or the Sunni, but essentially it's the same. Even someone, Ibn Hajar al-Makki, has written about Imam Zaman al-Islam exactly the way most of the Shia scholars have done. So this is a very important aspect now, because leaving aside what has happened, up to the first 11 Imams, as far as the 12th Imam is concerned, it's a very important one to remember. I remember here Imran Hussain came. Imran Hussain is a name on the YouTube now. If you go there, you'll see it. He's said so many interesting things. Someone just sent me some literature also about the Shia-Sunni divide and what it is. But Imran Hussain is amongst the Sunni scholars now supposed to be top analyst on this subject. He's got lots of literature on that. He's talking about the systems. He's talking about the American system, the Russian system, communist system, and he compares Yajuj and Majuj and all kinds of things, and he's taking things out. And if you look at the interesting aspects, and today we are concentrating on that subject, it's a very difficult subject, because we did find, we had a map here in the museum about how the Bani Umayyah would go and propagate the deen from their perspective. And we saw Daesh doing exactly the same. Starting from Raqqa, they would go to Mosul, and then they would go down. It's exactly as is there in the Hadith. But the most difficult thing for us is, it says that they will be coming into Kufa. And that would be a very big impact for us. And this is the Hadith which has been quoted, and we know about it, and it's a very, I'm looking at it from a different perspective, because there are two kinds of Hadiths that have come. One is Hatmi, which is bound to happen. And one is, a possibility that it may happen or it may not happen. And we see this, alhamdulillah, here. There's a hadith that the people, when we came here, the people said Islam is over now. For the people who are moving to the West, there will be no Islam. The kind of things that is happening. And initially when the people came in groups of 4 and 5, and they're all gone. There was no concept of the deen here. There was no concept of any religious happenings or religious functions happening here. People were given into drinking and dance and everything, even men, women, because there were very few in numbers. And they were being taught that once you come here, the deen is over. There is nothing left of the deen. And then we said, no, there is another hadith that says that towards the last time, the sun will rise from the west. So one of the interpretation of this hadith was that the sun would rise from the west, means that Islam will rise from the west. So that was a lot of hope for us. They say, yes, Islam can rise from the west, because it's very clearly there. The interpretations are there, the tafasir are there. So it's not that sun will rise in the west is one of the last portents of the things that will happen towards the end. So alhamdulillah, we see this. There's a big thing happening, and now we see the impact of Islam and Muslims in the West and what's happening. Actually, the way we see what's happening in France. It's too bad that the government was reluctant to put some restraints on the person. Here, it's strange. When you're talking about freedom of expression, if I were to say to someone, an ordinary person, he has not done any theft, and you say he's a thief. If you publish some ordinary person a thief, they can be sued. They can be really sued for that, for saying that. That's so easy. That's allowed. But then you go to a religious leader and you say something funny about him and lies about him. They say, no, that's freedom of expression. And this thing was raised up at the time of, I think, when is it Bhutto, the same thing is happening. They say someone saying something to a prophet, you want to keep quiet. What happens if someone says to your father that he was corrupt and he did this, and they don't have any proof? Then you're going to sue him. You're going to say, I'll sue. If someone says anything bad about your father is more important than the Prophet of Islam, that for someone saying something personally to me, I can sue them. But then someone says to the Prophet of Islam something that they feel like, and they use that as freedom of expression. Freedom of expression should be clearly defined. And I think this will force the Western world to define what is freedom of expression. Freedom of expression does not mean that you can lie about someone. You cannot assign things to a person which the person has not done. Yes, you can say, I don't accept. The concept of God is not there. It's possible, but freedom of expression doesn't mean that you say something bad, about Quran, about Islam, about Christianity, about any religion. You should have a right. And it's a sad part. It's a sad part that we see that meaningless things have been done when they were making mockery of Jesus at one point in time. They put the statue of Jesus in a bottle and asked people to urinate on that. So many people lined up to do that. And it doesn't make any sense. What are they trying to prove? You can say, yes, what Jesus said was not right, we don't understand, we don't believe in it. That's fine. But you cannot assign things to Hazrat Eesa alayhi salam which he has not done, which he physically has not done. You cannot say that he is from the gay group or whatever. They have no right to say that. Because this is mockery and this should not be allowed. So now I think the West will be forced, because they are learning a big lesson now, that what is freedom of expression. Freedom of expression is saying that we don't believe in a certain ideology. Like we don't believe Jesus to be the Son of God. But we cannot just make up stories about Jesus or about the Pope, which he has not done. If he has done something, if it's written in their own books, that's fine. You can say that. See, that's why Salman Rushdie had a problem with the Muslims. The Muslims are hard pressed to say that. When they were burning the Quran, a lot of Muslims could not say anything because the third Caliph was burning the Quran. He burned some ayats of the Holy Quran. So he could have put them, in a well. He could have maybe buried them in the sand. Instead of that, he burned it. So now I can see that those people, they couldn't say anything when the priest was burning the Quran, because their own leaders have done that. But we could say, because it's not allowed. It's not allowed to make fun or mockery. We had the problem in Iran at the time. They even the Sufis had taken a big hold, and they came up with ideas, and the police there was not allowed to even touch the book. They used to touch it with a little piece of stick. They said, don't touch it. Because it was so powerful, they start reading it, it all makes sense. So they say, but that doesn't mean you make fun of that. They say, no, you don't touch it and then throw it away. You bury it, you do something to it, and that's all you do. But you don't make a big deal about it, and that's where you'll excite people. You'll excite people, and that's what Islam is famous for. That Muslims are not doing what Islam has asked them. The Prophet of Islam and the Alim, their whole concept was to bring people towards the truth. If they don't like someone, they will bring them towards the truth rather than excite the hatred in them. And this is what we see. Like that kind of a concept we need. Like people came to our fifth Imam used to say that we hate Ahlul Bayt. We are from Sham, we hate you. But we get knowledge from you. So this is exactly that we should be looking at from our own perspective, that convey to the people what our aspect is, and better is still to get it from the books of the other people who are writing on this subject. Right now we are going through, as I said, very difficult time. The hadith about we talked about the hadith that we have about Kufa. That's one thing that we'll consider today, inshallah.
Respected viewers, right now from Lahore, I have on phone Peer Syed Asif Ali Shah Gilani. He is one of the great spiritual leader, and hundreds of thousands people, they follow him. I will request him to please speak in 21st Global International Imam Mahdi and Nabi Eesa Conference on behalf of President of the conference, Allama Farhat Moosavi, and those who are participating. I request him to please speak about Imam Mahdi and Nabi Eesa and the current issues. इस वक्त मेरे साथ पीर आसिफ अली शाह गिलानी लाहौर से हैं, जो तहरीक वहदत इस्लामी के सरबराह है और शिया सुन्नी इत्तेहाद में बड़ा उनका रोल है और लाखों मुरीद उनके पूरी दुनिया में मौजूद हैं। मैं पीर साहब से गुजारिश करूंगा कि 21वीं इमाम महदी अलैहिस्सलाम एंड नबी ईसा अलैहिस्सलाम कॉन्फ्रेंस में टेलीफोनिक खिताब फरमाएं। बिस्मिल्लाह पीर साहब। Thank you very much. Here we heard telephonically the beautiful message of Peer Asif Ali Shah. Alaikum Salam. Thank you very much. Peer Asif Ali Shah Kirani. He was talking from Lahore and he delivered very beautiful speech regarding. He started with economic congratulations of birth anniversary of Sadiqain Sharifain, Prophet Muhammad and Imam Sadiq, peace be upon both of them and all of them. And then he said, this is very nice that you have started this very important topic of Imam Mahdi and Nabi Eesa. And he said this is the need of the time. And he mentioned that when Imam Mahdi alayhi salam will come, he will lead the prayer and Isa alayhi salam will follow him in the prayer. And that's the proof that Imam Mahdi and all Imams are better than all prophets except Prophet Muhammad, who is master of them as well. So he mentioned very nice, and he said about Al Saud that all the problems in the world are due to Al Saud, and they are defaming Islam, and they are trying to put some bad impression toward Muslim image and face. So now I will request Brother Haider. He is going to deliver a qasida poetry in Urdu, Bismillah, about Imam Mahdi alayhi salam. Also I will request Brother Mahmoud Rizvi, please come here. Join us here.
بتا دو ان دشمنان حق کو جنہیں کوئی بھی خبر نہیں ہے. بتا دو ان دشمنان حق کو جنہیں کوئی بھی خبر نہیں ہے جہاں میں کیسا ہے یہ اجالا جو عسکری کا قمر نہیں ہے. بتا دو ان دشمنان حق کو جنہیں کوئی بھی خبر نہیں ہے جہاں میں کیسا ہے یہ اجالا جو عسکری کا قمر نہیں ہے. زمانہ ہوتا ہے دین کا پیرو امام راسو رئیس سے مذہب. زمانہ ہوتا ہے دین کا پیرو امام راسو رئیس سے مذہب. نہیں ہے جس میں امام کوئی وہ جسم ہے جس میں سر نہیں ہے. مرتبت کے چند اشعار ہیں امام مہدی اجل اللہ تعالیٰ کی نسبت سے. یہ بھی ذیشان جبانی صاحب کا کلام ہے کہ جہاں عشق و وفا میں یارو حساب سود و زیاں نہیں ہے. جہاں عشق و وفا میں یارو حساب سود و زیاں نہیں ہے. متاع ہستی لٹی ہوئی ہے مگر یہ سودا گراں نہیں ہے. جہاں عشق و وفا میں یارو حساب سود و زیاں نہیں ہے. متاع ہستی لٹی ہوئی ہے مگر یہ سودا گراں نہیں ہے. یہ نور اول کی ہے تجلی یہ طور کی داستان نہیں ہے. یہ نور اول کی ہے تجلی یہ طور کی داستان نہیں ہے. بچائیں ہوش ہم کیسے اپنے کہ ان کا جلوہ کہاں نہیں. اور نگاہ عاشق کا فیصلہ ہے کہ ان کا جلوہ جہاں نہیں ہے. نگاہ عاشق کا فیصلہ ہے کہ ان کا جلوہ جہاں نہیں ہے. زمین پھر وہ زمین نہیں ہے وہ آسمان آسمان. قسم خدا کی ہماری نظروں میں یوں سمائے ہیں ان کے جلوے. قسم خدا کی ہماری نظروں میں یوں سمائے ہیں ان کے جلوے. ہمیں یہ احساس بھی نہیں ہے کہاں ہے جلوہ کہاں نہیں. وہ عرش اعظم کے رہنے والے زمین پر اس شان سے ہیں آئے. وہ عرش اعظم کے رہنے والے زمین پر اس شان سے ہیں آئے. نشان قدموں کے بن گئے فلک بھی یہ کہکشاں نہیں. اور بھٹکنے والوں کے نقش پا پر نہ ہم چلے ہیں نہ ہم چلیں گے. بھٹکنے والوں کے نقش پا پر نہ ہم چلے ہیں نہ ہم چلیں گے. نہ جس کا معصوم رہنما ہو ہمارا وہ کارواں نہیں. اور یہ اہل مشرق یہ اہل مغرب ابھرتے اور ڈوبتے رہیں گے. یہ اہل مشرق یہ اہل مغرب ابھرتے اور ڈوبتے رہیں گے. ہمیں یہ کیسے فنا کریں گے ہمارا کیا پاسباں نہیں. اور علم جو دست امام میں ہے وہی ہے قومی نشان ہمارا. علم جو دست امام میں ہے وہی ہے قومی نشان ہمارا. مٹانے والے مٹے ہیں ایسے کہ ان کا نام و نشان نہیں ہے. اور اگر نہیں ہے وجود عطرت تو حسبنا کا ہے بس یہ مطلب. اگر نہیں ہے وجود عطرت تو حسبنا کا ہے بس یہ مطلب. کتاب ہے ترجمہ نہیں ہے زبان ہے اور بیان نہیں.
سبحان اللہ سبحان اللہ.
اور 1000 برسوں کے بعد اب بھی حیات باقی. 1000 برسوں کے بعد اب بھی حیات باقی حیات قائم. جو عمر پائی ہے تم نے مولا وہ عمر رواں نہیں ہے. اور تمہارے نقش قدم سلامت ہمیں حرم کی ہے کیا ضرورت. تمہارے نقش قدم سلامت ہمیں حرم کی ہے کیا ضرورت. ہمارا قبلہ کہاں نہیں ہے ہمارا کعبہ کہاں نہیں.
سبحان اللہ.
اور یہ وقفہ ہے کہ مدح ممدوح حق سے عاجز کلیم ہر ایک زبان والا. ہے مدح ممدوح حق سے عاجز کلیم ہر ایک زبان والا. یہی جگہ ہے جہاں پہنچ کر کسی کے منہ میں زبان جہاں عشق و وفا میں یارو حساب سود و زیاں نہیں ہے. بتائے رستی لٹی ہوئی ہے مگر یہ سودا گرا نہیں.
شکریہ. Brother Alim was delivering Urdu poetry, mashallah, in an excellent way. We have also Amir here if you want to add something in Persian or in English.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. These ash'ar verses were about Ahlul Bayt, especially from Imam alayhi salam. And now I have Hujjatul Islam Maulana Sheikh Bilal Hussain, ready from Allentown, Imam Jummah of Allentown. Right after him, Hujjatul Islam Maulana Raza Hussain. So I'll take him. He is sending me messages. Maulana Sheikh Bilal Hussain, Fazil of Najaf, and he is a resident Alim at Al-Ahad Center, Allentown, Pennsylvania, USA. He is my student, but now, mashallah, he became a good, big alim. So I'll take him as a participant, and then, inshallah, after him, Maulana Hussain. Thank you very much, those who are watching us on TV and Husainiyah.com. Mashallah, we have a lot of people. We are receiving messages, emails and SMS. Mashallah, how many people they are. And everybody wants to talk. But we have limitation of time. Assalamu alaikum. How are you? Here is Hujjatul Islam, Maulana Sheikh Bilal Hussain, Imam Jummah wal Jamaat of Al-Ahad Center, Allentown, Pennsylvania, USA. He is Fazil of Najaf, and he will speak about 21st Imam Mahdi alayhi salam and Nabi Eesa conference. Bismillah, Sheikh. Go ahead.
technology supports guidance. For example, when we take a look and we see narrations pertaining to the 12th Imam, Imam Mahdi, we see mentioned in the book of Sandalvi by Shaykh al-Sudur. This book in itself is a very important book. Shaykh al-Sudur, one of the leading scholars of Islam, who is given the title of being the truthful and the one who is known as one of the leaders of his time, and his books are still present and useful for us in the Islamic school of thought, particularly Jafari Madhab. He was someone who traveled to collect hadith throughout Muslim communities around the entire world. And when he writes this book, he says, I found the condition that many of the Muslims were having a hard time believing that Imam Mahdi was still alive. He says, I found the condition of the people who were asking the question, is it legitimately possible for someone to be alive 700 years? And we know at this point in time that our Imam has been alive for 100 years. So people were questioning, so he put together this book, and this book is a fantastic book and a great resource for everyone to read and research, where he puts together logical, intellectual answers and resources and lessons and information to teach the people about evidence of how an Imam or how a leader of humanity could still be alive after a long period of time. And he gives examples from the stories of the Anbiya, of their the times when they were absent from their communities, and how Allah did not make the idea that a leader of humanity could be absent from their community something that was a unique aspect to Islam, but rather was something that Allah had done before in previous times with the various Anbiya. For example, brief and light, we take a look at the example of Nabi Musa. Nabi Musa, we know he is taken to the mountain and he announced to the people, I will be going for a period of 30 days. And Allah says what? He says in these 30 days that we increase within 10 more days. And the period was a life that was unknown to the people at the time, and they didn't imaginary effect. As a matter of fact, they faltered in their faith because of the absence of their leader when they were expected to be there. So Shaykh takes many of these examples together and explains how, through the intellectual we can understand that the authority of Allah present on the earth can be present, however, from the people being able to communicate with it. And in the second volume of this, he discusses various writings and letters of communications that were received from the Imam Mahdi himself. And the idea that there's a guide for humanity who is absent from communication explains this. What's the Imam right? He says, I benefit you in my absence the way the sun benefits people when it is hidden behind the clouds. Now these are the words of the Imam himself. When we listen to these words and we take a look at these words, some of the concepts that we have to understand, that we have to pay attention to is what? When we take a look at these words, that these guides of Allah, when they are absent, they are still helpful and supportive. That's the same way that if, for example, for a long period of time, the clouds were under the earth, does that mean we would suddenly stop taking benefit from the sun? No. For the very basic fact, we were to take a look at it. If the sun was not present, the earth does not exist. The gravitational force that would come into place of the sun would pull all the planets in, and it would be a black hole that would absorb and destroy all of creation. So yes, the sun is there. Even if we don't take a look at the physical benefit of the sun, that, for example, out of the sun, we are getting sunlight. Out of the sun, we can look at the sun, we are getting the benefits of daylight. If we want to take away even these benefits, that, for example, the sun is in behind the clouds, we can still tell that it is daytime. We still have this ability to confirm that day is there, because the condition of the earth is light air. However, let's say even that was impossible. You could not tell the difference that it's day or night because the clouds are so heavy. You could not see the benefit of the grass growing because day or night was not visible. The fact of the existence of the sun astrologically, scientifically, shows that the temperate nature of the earth is suitable for us because the sun is present. It shows that the earth maintains its rotation around the gravitational pull that is created by the sun. that we can't benefit from. There are certain benefits we can't seek from them because Allah has not let them be exposed to us during this time period. To say that we are absent from any benefit from them would be a lie. They still benefit us. And then this is why we see, for example, if the sun was to be hidden behind the clouds for such a long period of time, it's true. People would begin to doubt, is the sun present? People would begin to doubt, does the sun actually exist? Because one of the ways that humanity finds comfort and understanding about the presence of the sun or the presence of the imam or of the guide or the representative of God on this earth is by being able to interact with them. And it's true. It may happen that people begin to doubt, is this guide, is this hobby, is this representative still present? Therefore, Allah creates a system of miracles and selective opportunities where it is necessary for the imam to be seen, that the imam is seen and he shows himself amongst very select individuals so that they can go back and report to the people that yes, for example, I have seen the sun and it does exist, or I have seen the imam and he is present. I have seen the hujjah, the authority of Allah, the authority of God on this earth, and he is present. These are benefits that, for example, we get from sometimes having the unique sightings of the imam or unique sightings of the hujjah on the earth, and we see these narrations and they're shared amongst us for us to benefit from, so that we can have this confirmation and the affirmation that the imam is present. One such example, we take a look and we see during the olden times in Bahrain, which was a primarily Shia country, was primarily a country that believed in the wilayah of the Ahlul Bayt, that there happened to be an instance where a man came to the Khalifa of the time, who happened to be from a different madhab, but Shia. He says, look, these people misguide you to respect their faith. I bring to you a pomegranate that shows the name of all four khulafa on it. And it is a representation of the authority of all four of the khulafa. How is it possible that Allah would grow such a sign that showed all these khulafa if they were not righteous? These people who tell you that the khulafa are not righteous or that they don't have the authority of Allah are liars. The king, he brings the scholars of the Jafari madhab and he says that this is a claim made against you. If this claim is incorrect, prove it. They say we need 3 days to research and we'll come back to an answer that how is it possible for this pomegranate to show you that us or the khulafa are correcting a sign from Allah and that it's not true, what we are Jafari. At the end of 3 days, they had not found a solution on here. They had a sighting of the Imam Sahawat, was the Imam Mahdi was on Alim, Syed. Imam explained, he said that go to this man's house, in his house, find a certain chemical that he's using to write on the plant that makes it show in this way the sign on the outside of the pomegranate. He says, and then if you want to see the truth, open the pomegranate and take a look and see what's inside of the pomegranate. And when they take the king, they go to the house. It wasn't a natural occurrence. The names of all of the Khalifa were showing up on pomegranates, rather the man was using chemicals on the fruit to grow in such a way. And then when they opened the pomegranate, they saw that 3 areas where the other names were written were rotten, and the one area that was still right was the area on which the name of Ali ibn Abi Talib was written. Now, the people of that time, the scholars of that time, they turned to the Imam of the time and they said to him, they said, oh my Imam, we asked for 3 days, why did it take you 3 days to come to us to help us and be a support for us? You were the authority, you could have come sooner. The Imam explained it was your lack of faith in me that you thought it would take you 3 days to get an answer from me. That's why I took so long. Had you had the certainty in me that I am present and I would guide you and I would lead you in the right direction, I would have come immediately and answered the question immediately and you would not have to wait that 3 days. The point of this story is that one is having the certainty that the person is there and that the guide is present and he will guide you. And he will set the affairs straight where they need to be set straight and that he is there as a leader for us. And that's something that we need to continuously remember in our day-to-day lives. Though we can't access personalities, though these authorities of God are not available to us immediately, they still interact with us humanity.
Awesome.
Bye-bye.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Awesome.
Salam to all the Muslims.
Salam al-Mu'min to you and Allama Farhat Moosavi. He says salam to the rest. Thank you very much. Here we heard from Sheikh Hussain. Very nice. MashaAllah, our youngsters. Now they are becoming Maulanas and they will be more effective to the community than us. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
How are you, Maulana?
Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah.
You are in the conference, 21st Imam Mahdi al-Islam and Nabi Eesa conference. Here is Maulana Wasim Abbas from Dallas, Texas. He is a good alim, good orator, mashallah. And also he is the manager of Al-Mahdi TV. We thank him that Al-Mahdi TV's team now playing all the conference directly, and we thank Brother Alim Raza as well, who is giving all these connections to Al-Mahdi TV. So Maulana, what you would like to say to the participants of Imam Mahdi and Nabi Eesa conference?
Thank you very much. I really appreciate that you give me an opportunity to speak about Imam Zaman Ajjallahu Ta'ala. First of all, I would say, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Alaikum assalam.
Everybody who is available there. And I would also take congratulate all, especially Syed, Maulana, about Moosavi sir, arrange basically this wonderful conference about Imam Zaman Ajjallahu Ta'ala and Farhat. And very quickly, I would just like some of the points. I was watching this conference over Al-Mahdi TV, mashallah, program and conference. And I would say a lot of people basically don't keep the essence of Imam Sharif. What logic they give, they say that because Imam is unseen, then how can you believe a personality which is unseen and you believe that that personality exists? And I would just like to very humbly like saying that if you come up with this logic, that if something is unseen, you cannot do that. If you read the first chapter of the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions in there, وَالَّذِينَ يُؤْمِنُونَ بِالْغَيْبِ يُقِيمُونَ الصَّلَاةَ وَمِمَّا رَزَقْنَاهُمْ يُنْفِقُونَ. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is basically mentioning this ghaibah. If you have to believe in the ghaibah. You haven't seen your eyes, but you believe in there. You haven't seen Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but you believe in there. You haven't seen Mizan, but you believe in that. You haven't seen the day of judgment, but you believe in that. Being a Muslim, it's not like, if you not see something, so you do not believe it. So Imam Ajjallahu in a gathering, in a Muslim gathering, it was in Imam Bargah in Pakistan, and people were gathered to celebrate what the anniversary of our Holy Prophet. And Abdul Sayyid Prophet came and just crossed himself right outside the Imam Bargah. So, basically, living their lives, kill Muslims, they have no importance of human beings, they do not care about the living creatures. So all these signs are basically what is the bottom line, what is the responsibility after we see all this, and our Imam is, of course, Imam
going to sum up our conference. Let me call Maulana Ahmad Raza Hussain. He is from Mississauga and he will speak about Imam Mahdi. Dear viewers, dear mashallah, you are attending 21st Imam Mahdi alayhi salam and Nabi Eesa alayhi salam conference. And we are very thankful to all of you. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. مولانا خیریت سے تو آپ ارشاد فرمائیے آپ آن ایئر ہے بسم اللہ بسم اللہ
الرحمن الرحیم رسول اللہ صلی اللہ علیہ وآلہ فرمائے
अल्लाह ताला आपको शिफाए कामिल आजिल अता फरमाए। ये थे हुज्जतुल इस्लाम मौलाना अलहाज सैयद अहमद रजा हुसैनी साहब, जिन्होंने ऑनलाइन हमारे साथ फोन पर शिरकत की इस कॉन्फ्रेंस में। और अब मैं जी ये गुजारिश करूंगा जो हमारे किबला अल्लामा अलहाज फरहत हुसैन मूसवी साहब ने जहाँ इन्होंने बहस छोड़ी थी वहीं से कंप्लीट करें, सबब करेंगे इंशाअल्लाह। यही
Assalamu alaikum. We were dealing with certain things that are common amongst the literature that's been passed on to us. One of the hadiths coming from Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali ibn Talib alayhi salatu wasalam is that Imam Muhammad al-Baqir al-Islam was asked, "Are you not the Khayyam? And why only Wali al-Asr is called the Khayyam?" He replied, "When my grandfather Imam Hussain al-Islam was martyred, the angels wailed loudly and they pleaded in front of Allah, "O Allah, will you let go the ones who have massacred the best of your creation, the one chosen by you and the son of your chosen one?" Allah revealed to the angels. This is from Dalail al-Imam of Tabari. "O my angels, be patient. I swear by my honor and might, verily I will take revenge from these people, even it may be after a few days." Thereafter Allah removed the veil from the eyes of the angels and they saw the Imams from the progeny of Imam Hussain. Seeing this, the angels became happy and they saw that among those Imams there was one who was in the state of Qiyam, standing, and Allah said, "Through this Khayyam I will take revenge." And Imam Mahdi ﷺ is yearning to help Imam Hussain ﷺ, to be alongside Hazrat Imam Hussain and be fortunate enough to attain martyrdom is the greatest achievement and honor. It is something which we mention repeatedly in Ziyarat al-Warisa. In the Ziyarat al-Nahiya, Imam Zamana has expressed this great desire in the following words: "O my oppressed father, I came in this world after you, and by the decree of Allah, I couldn't help you. Therefore, I will lament morning and evening, and instead of tears, I will shed blood." This gives us an idea that the eyes of Imam Zamana, it is an honor and privilege to help Imam Hussain al-Islam. The mission of Imam Hussain will be completed by Imam Mahdi al-Islam, and the religion for which the chief of martyrs sacrificed his life will be put into practice in the entire world. And there is another place where there is a discussion of Ashura. There is no particular day fixed for the appearance of Imam Mahdi al-Islam. Some traditions, however, do speak of certain days on which there is a possibility. Some reports mention Friday, some speak of Ashura, and some also talk about Saturday. Ashura and Friday could be the one day on which reappearance may take place, while Saturday could be the day of announcement. So in this way, the day of martyrdom and a reappearance will be Friday. Saturday will be the day of balancing the things. Thus the day of martyrdom will be the day when the religion will be stabilized and operational in the whole world. The day of martyrdom will be the day on which the powers of falsehood will be annihilated. Imam Jafar Sadiq ﷺ said in Al-Ghaiba of Shaykh al-Tusi, on the 23rd day of the holy month of Ramadan, there will be a voice in the sky calling out the name of Hazrat Qaim ﷺ. And the day of Ashura will be the day when he will rise, the day on which Imam Hussain ﷺ was martyred. And in another place it talks about the speech of Imam al-Islam. And these are some of the things that we are looking at from different literature. And a lot of things have come now from the Sunni literature. I've seen the whole ahadith, a whole series of ahadith coming from Ahl al-Sunnah, and they are talking about it from Bukhari, when it was said that what would be your situation if the son of Mary descends upon you and your Imam is from among you. This is in Kitab al-Anbiya of Bukhari. Another place in Muslim it says, what will be your reaction when the son of Mary descends and your Imam is from among yourself? Again, here clearly talk about the fact that Imam Mahdi والسلام, will lead Hazrat Eesa in the prayers. And another place in Sahih Muslim, it says, the group of Ummah will fight for truth until near the day of judgment, when Jesus, the son of Mary, will descend, and the leader of them will ask him to lead the prayer. But Jesus declined, saying, no, verily among you Allah has made leaders for others, and He has bestowed His bounty upon them. And this hadith is important. It says a group of Ummah will fight for truth. And it says the son of Mary will descend, and the leader of them. So here he is talking about the leader of the group which is fighting for truth. Alhamdulillah, we just saw like people giving their life now in Rawalpindi and other places for the truth. And this hadith from Sahih Muslim clearly indicates that this group which will fight for truth will be the one whose leader will ask Jesus ﷺ to lead the prayers, and that's where Jesus will say, Allah has made you the leader. And another place he says, I am the wazir. You are the ameen of this ummah, and I am the wazir. So, and these things, they cannot be neglected, because these are coming from another interesting thing from Abu Dawud, again Ahl al-Sunnah. After the death of a ruler, there will be some dispute between the people. At that time, a citizen of Medina will flee from Medina and go to Makkah. While in Makkah, certain people will approach him between Hajar al-Aswad and Maqam Ibrahim and forcefully pledge their allegiance to him. Thereafter, a huge army will proceed from Syria to attack him. But when they will be at Bargah, which is between Makkah and Medina, they will be swallowed into the ground. And if you look at the latest news that are coming, that the death of a ruler, we talk about Abdullah is in very bad shape. That any time he could die, and they say that the biggest shock to the regime that we have for the Saudi princes, there will be a big problem with them. That will be the end of it, inshallah. And the army will come from Syria to attack, and at a place between Makkah and Medina, they will sink in the ground. And one of the person's face will be turned the other side down. And that is mentioned in the Holy Quran. That azab has not happened to anyone. So the person will walk back. And then he'll be the one who will go and inform Imam Mahdi ﷺ in Makkah. And on seeing this, the Abdal of Sham, as well as numbers of people from Iraq, will come to him and pledge their allegiance. So people from Sham and Iraq will come and give allegiance to our Imam ﷺ between Hajar al-Aswad and Maqam Ibrahim. Then a person from the Quraysh, whose uncle will be from Bani Kalb tribe, will send an army to attack him, only to be overpowered by the will of Allah. This army will be unfortunate it is who do not receive the booty of the Kalb of that the tribe. The person, Imam Mahdi, will dispute the spoils of war after the battle. He will lead the people according to the Sunnah, and during his reign, Islam will spread throughout the world. He will remain till 7 years. Since his emergence, he will pass away, and the Muslims will perform his Salatul Janazah. This is from Abu Dawud. And these parts are very, very much in concordance with what the Shia Hadith are. And Abu Sa'id al-Qadri is saying from the Prophet, Al-Mahdi will be from my progeny. His forehead will be broad and his nose will be high. He will fill the world with justice and fairness at a time when the world will be filled with oppression. He will rule for 7 years. As we had started the conference, we talked about it, that they will travel, the Bani Umayyah and the Stooges will travel all the way up to Kufa. And Kufa obviously is very close to Najaf. So it is like they are going just now, I think yesterday also. They were very close to Samara. They attacked Samara, they killed some people. So they are trying to get into Samara now. But their route is not Samara, their route is on the other side. So they might bypass Najaf, but they will reach Kufa. It seems that hadith will be there, so they will, reach Kufa as far as the hadiths are saying. And we know that this is a hatmi, because one of the Ali al-Islam is quoted from the Prophet saying, Even if only one day remains for Qiyamah to come, Allah will surely send a man from my family who will fill this world with such justice and fairness, just as it was initially filled with oppression. So we look at this aspect. We have that map there. It's talking very clearly.
Bring here.
Yeah.
Bring that show. Bring here. Keep it here.
Yeah, keep that on top of it. It's in the we are talking about Rayat al-Imam Mahdi al-Islam, Rayat al-Sufyani, Rayat al-Kindi, Rayat al-Yamani, Rayat al-Khurasani, al-Hassani, Rayat al-Hashimi, al-Iraqi, Rayat al-Tikriti, Rayat al-Harith bin Harath al-Bashraqi, Rayat al-Jaysh al-Rome. And we're talking about the Rome, the Western forces also, all these flags, they're all traveling from different places. And right now we see how they are trying to reach Kufa. They have gone all the way from Raqqa. They have, if you look at the map here, it's Karbala, it's near Hilla, Qadisiyah and Kufa. They will come towards Kufa. They will come bypass Baghdad, Hilla, and then Qadisiyah, and then they will come to Kufa. And Najaf is not there. Najaf is not in there, out of the way, and then they will travel all the way here towards the Basra. Basra, we know that there will be destruction in Basra, and actually they will be attacked from the other side, and they will go. But the Roman Bahr al-Mutawassit, Mediterranean Sea, you see all of the forces, Roman armies will be coming, and that's where we see again the Harmajadoon will be happening near where Palestine is now, and that's the war that they are referring to right now. They say Third World War. Even I think the president referred to the Third World War that would be happening, and we see everything proceeding to whatever it's been prescribed. And this is very important for us to know. And talking about those places where Ansar al-Imam Mahdi al-Islam will be there. Barakat al-Madan and every place, wherever there's a triangle, there's where the Shias would be there, and the Shias would be protecting. So we see Najaf would be there. This is Samawi, right? Samawa, the people were coming from there, and we see all the forces here. So some places they would not be able to take. Tustar, Istakhar, those places there. Yeah, and we look at Isfahan, we are talking about Qom, and these places we see the different armies coming. The numbers of Ahlul Bayt will be there, and Rayat al-Imam al-Mahdi alayhi salatu wasalam will come, and the Imam alayhi salatu wasalam will come, and they will, as we said, because Makkah and Medina, they will be destroyed also. So there would not be that Harakat al-Imam al-Mahdi Ba'da al-Dhuhur. Start from Kaaba, and then the Imam al-Salam will go to Medina, and then it goes all the way to Kufa. That's where the Masjid Salah is. The Imam comes there every Tuesday night. So we see it's very clear, because may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give a good position to Janab Munawwar Naqvi, who is the one who provided this map for us. He went there, and this is how a good deed is remembered. He's gone now, but she's still Munawwar Sharif. He's remember him. He used to be regular. He provided this map, very interesting map which he got. So this
Masjid Kufa will be his capital.
Masjid Kufa will be the capital.
Sandalvi will be his home.
Imam alayhi salatu wasalam. And this we see, like what happened in, I think the Prime Minister of Iran was talking about what's going to happen in Lebanon. Some of the reporters says, how did you know? He said, we knew it from the Ahadith. We knew about Hadith, what is going to happen in Lebanon, and how, alhamdulillah, a few people in Lebanon will be there, and they change the whole destiny of the whole world. Actually, they defeated the biggest army of Israel. It was thrown out from there. Since then, they have never been able to go into any other place. They just go for a few days and come back. Previously, they had completely taken over the place. And what they did was to make fun of the Holy Quran. And they kicked the Quran. And the worst was, on the day of Ashura, some young Israeli general started to give trouble to the people in the procession. And the Americans and others advised him not to do that, because they say, you don't know, the Shias are much different on the day of Ashura, you don't touch them on that day. He wouldn't listen. And that's where they started to get rid of them within minutes. So the power is there. And it's not just the crime for Imam Hussain al-Islam, but he's a source of guidance for us. And that's why the Canadian, when he went to Iran and wrote 17 Days in Tehran, he went to the Behisht-e-Zahra cemetery. And he says, I used to think that a martyr is someone that you show sympathy to. He says, no. He says, Imam Hussain is still powerful. He controls millions of people till today. He says, you don't have sympathy for him. No, he's powerful. We don't cry for sympathy. We cry for the fact that why he was mistreated in that manner. We don't cry to what happened to him. But nothing should happen to a person of that stature. So in that thing, he talked about Behisht-e-Zahra cemetery and how it changed his life, and how he went and met Ayatollah Khomeini, and he was talking with, because he wrote one open letter in Vancouver to Ayatollah Khomeini. Someone from his embassy sent the letter to him back to home. So the Ayatollah says, I have to reply to this letter. He said, oh, it's just an open letter. We write in the newspaper to anyone. He says, no, in Islam it's wajib to give reply. So he says, how can you, sitting there in Vancouver, think about what's happening to us? Why don't you come down? So he was invited, and he went there for 17 days, and he wrote a whole book. And in that he mentioned, I met one of the most intellectual person on earth. And the concept of ziyarat he presented. He said, I couldn't go to Jamkaran and Jabran, where he was staying in Tehran. So I asked my taxi driver to just go near where his home is, because he says the whole air was filled with the jar, and I wanted to feel that. So he says, what is ziyarat? I wish the Shias feel the same way when they go to Najaf and Karbala, that the whole area is different. As soon as they enter the area, you should feel the presence of our Imam Mahdi who are living. So when the people say that we go to meet and visit places of dead people, we said we never go there. We go to places where all the Imams are alive. It's Baitul Sharaf, they are living there. When we go there, we feel that the Imam is only 10 feet away from us, except that we can't see him. But he's just sitting there, it's not his grave, that's his palace, that's his qasr, that's a place where Jannat is opening up, the whole concept. So these people, foreigners, how they bring us this concept is amazing. And he was the one to note that, as the Prophet ﷺ says, give me 10 years in Medina. He got 10 years in Medina. He says the same thing Ayatollah Khomeini said in 79. If Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give me 10 years, and he exactly got 10 years. So he was comparing the 10 years in Medina, the 10 years for Ayatollah Khomeini and how he changed the whole people. And Allama was there, see how much difference came in the people of Iran within a few years. How they lived in 68 and 69 was horrible. And then everything changed, alhamdulillah, and Allah gave them more hidayah and give us also the guidance to follow. And I would like to ask Allama to talk about the current events related to Imam Zaman and our responsibilities in, as he was mentioning, the Khutbah of Jummah also. We have certain responsibilities and we can start working on it right away, inshallah. I'll say thank you, all of you, for coming here and listening to it and benefiting from it. And this sound which we have generated today, it will remain in the atmosphere forever. Inshallah, one day we'll be able to recover it back and see it. And the benefits that we get from following the traditions of Ahlul Bayt alayhi salatu wasalam. May Allah hasten the appearance of Imam Mahdi Akhir Zaman, and may Allah make us among his companions.
Dear participants, especially those who are sitting here since Jummah prayer, mashallah, May Allah give you ajr. And I appreciate your participation and those who are watching us online. We are running shortage of time, running out of time. We have to finish everything before 5 o'clock. Let me here share with all of you the participants of 21st Imam Mahdi and Nabi Eesa, peace be upon both of them, conference. Strongly condemn the coward activity, terrorist activity of today in Rawalpindi, Pakistan, in which the Al-Qaeda people, Taliban people, Sipai Sahaba people, they killed more than 20 lovers of Ahlul Bayt. And they bombed the place where Miladun Nabi's session was being held, and Miladus Sadiq. We strongly condemn this activity, and we pray for martyrs of today. May Allah count them as the followers of martyrs of Karbala. And may Allah give patience to their relatives who lost their loved ones, especially on the day of birth anniversary of Prophet and Imam Sadiq. Salamullahi alayhi. We also strongly condemn the recent fatwa of Mufti Azam of Saudi Arabia, Abdul Aziz Al Sheikh, in which he said celebration of Milad is against Sharia and is bid'ah. We, the participant of this conference, strongly condemn this, and we say this fatwa is bid'ah, and this fatwa is against Sharia. And this Mufti doesn't know alphabets of Sharia. This is the same Mufti who delivered fatwa on the night of Muharram, first night of Muharram, Na'uzu Billah, that Imam Hussain was Baghi and disbeliever. This is the same Mufti. When Muharram comes, they come out of their houses and they deliver this kind of fatwas in the favor of Yazid. And when Rabiul Awwal comes, they deliver fatwas in the favor of Abu Jahl, Abu Lahab, and the family of Abu Sufyan. We strongly condemn, and we promise we will celebrate the days of Prophet until the last moment of our life. And we will commemorate the majalis of Hussain, and nobody is going to listen to the fatwa of Abdul Aziz Al Sheikh. Even I appreciate those Sunni scholars who condemn this fatwa and challenge this fatwa, especially in Pakistan. They challenge this fatwa, alhamdulillah, and they are protesting against Mufti of Saudi Arabia. Imam Mahdi and Nabi Eesa conference teaches us to remember both. Imam Mahdi will come and he will lead the prayer, and Nabi Eesa will follow him. The Christians of that time will be at high level when they will see their prophet is following Imam Mahdi. They will all accept Islam. And let me here share with you, on this Saturday, 11:30 a.m., I converted one Christian, Edward Morton Ford, 24 years old, a learned young man, and he got converted after 1 year of dialogues with me. In front of 500 people, out of those 500, 250 were all Christians, 250 Muslims. And when he took Shahada, all the Christians and Muslims, they said loudly, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. this is the victory of Ahlul Bayt. That mashallah, how Christians are converting after their research work. And we all should take advantage of freedom of speech, freedom of religion in these countries, and we all should become ambassadors of Islam. I do remember Allama Farhat Moosavi. I was inspired by him basically in initial stage. When I came to Canada and he told me he did convert a non-believer to Islam with only 25 cents phone call. Those days there were no cell phones. He just made one call to South America and a person got converted. Alhamdulillah. So I will urge you all. Now the sources and means are much more. Those times internet was not that at that level. We did not have these phones, these Apple phones and WhatsApp and SMS and Twitter, Telegraph. These all vital things. Now, alhamdulillah, you can work as ambassador of Islam and you may attract others toward the way of Imam Mahdi, Ajjalallahu Ta'ala, Farhat Sharif. MashaAllah, your participation was very nice today. After Jummah, we started this conference, and now, before we close this conference, I will request from the participants, if anyone wants to speak, we have few minutes. You can take the mic, you can come to the podium and speak few minutes, and then inshallah we will make dua and we will finish all. Abu, you want to say something? Brother Mahmoud, Brother Mullah Shiraz, Hazrat Brother Asghar, Hyder Abbas, Brother. Anyone. Brother Alim Raza, brother. We also appreciate the efforts of Alim Raza, mashallah, who is sending this message throughout the world. And also I recognize Haji Aqeel, who provided us very nice lunch, and I hope before we finish the conference, he will serve us tea. And along with his tea, after the dua, we will dismiss this conference. Thank you.
बिस्मिल्लाहिर्रहमानिर्रहीम। मैंने बड़े सालों से ये कॉन्फ्रेंस अटेंड की है और मैं इसके शुरू से वाक़िफ़ हूँ, शुरुआत से, और मेरी ये दुआ है कि ये कॉन्फ्रेंस इस तरह से जारी रहे, क्योंकि इससे एक बहुत ही बुनियादी मकसद हमारा हासिल हो रहा है कि हमारा एतक़ाद और हमारी जो इंफॉर्मेशन है इस उन्वान से कि इमाम महदी अलैहिस्सलाम और हज़रत ईसा अलैहिस्सलाम अब जो आने वाला ज़माना है उसकी तैयारी के लिए ये बहुत ज़बरदस्त मैटर है और इंफॉर्मेशन है जो हमको यहाँ से मिलती है। और मेरी यही दुआ है कि इससे इसी तरह से जारी और सारी रहना चाहिए और मेरी पूरी सपोर्ट इस तरह। मुझे बड़ी खुशी होती है इसमें शिरकत करके।
Now I request few words, assembly, please, few words, just participate. Mic there.
अस्सलामु अलैकुम वरहमतुल्लाहि वबरकातुहू। ये मैंने दूसरी दफ़ा कॉन्फ्रेंस अटेंड की है और बहुत ही मालूमाती कॉन्फ्रेंस है। माशाअल्लाह से क़िबला फरहत मूसवी साहब की ये सब मेहनत है जो ये आज कॉन्फ्रेंस इसमें नौबत पे पहुँच गई। मैं घर में 13वां या 14वां इसका सेशन हो रहा है, 21वां सेशन हो रहा है। और माशाअल्लाह से इसी तरह से अगर ये चलती रही तो ये एक वक्त ऐसा होगा कि ये दुनिया में बेहतरीन कॉन्फ्रेंसों के अंदर शुमार किया जाए। मैं डॉक्टर साहब का भी शुक्रिया अदा करता हूँ कि वो भी बहुत मेहनत करते हैं इस कॉन्फ्रेंस के लिए, और हमारे पार्टिसिपेंट जो हैं उन्हीं ने भी आके हौसला अफजाई की है। और अल्लाह ताला इन दोनों बुज़ुर्गों को डॉक्टर सखावत हुसैन और क़िबला फरहत मूसवी को अल्लाह मियां सेहत दे।
माशाल्लाह सैयद साहब ने बहुत अप्रिशिएट किया। मैं यहाँ पर ये ऐलान करना चाहता हूँ कि बेहमदुल्लाह मैंने 20 कॉन्फ्रेंस अटेंड की, सिर्फ एक में मैं नहीं आ सका था। अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह मैं 20 कॉन्फ्रेंस से आज 20वीं में अटेंड कर रहा हूँ, यानी गोया मैं 1 नंबर आवा साहब से पीछे हूँ। उन्होंने 21 अटेंड की है तो मैंने 20 अटेंड। बहुत शुक्रिया। हसन जैदी साहब ने बड़े ही अप्रिशिएटिंग रिमार्क्स दिए। महमूद यूसुफ साहब ने अल्लाह ताला सलामत रखे, और हमारे हैदराबाद साहब ने बड़ा खूबसूरत पढ़ा, अल्लाह ताला इनकी तौफीकात में। अबू वकील भी हमारे यहाँ बैठे। If Abu Akil wants to add anything in the conference, mashallah, he is almost participant of more than 16 years, I believe.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity. What I'm confused is, why you compare Mahdi with Isa? Why don't you compare Isa with Muhammad? That's the point I don't understand. Okay?
Thank you very much, Brother Abu Akil. Haji Abu Akil, may Allah bless you. There is no comparison between both. You cannot even compare Isa to Muhammad. There is no comparison. Isa says, Mubashiram bi Rasuli ya'ati min ba'di ismuhu Ahmad. He says, I came just to announce. I am announcer. I am master of ceremony. I am MC. To announce that Muhammad is coming, Ahmad is coming. There is no comparison. This Imam Mahdi and Nabi Eesa conference is not for comparison. This is for similarities, awareness. Because in the end, Isa is coming and Imam Mahdi is coming. Neither Prophet Muhammad nor Imam Ali are coming apparently. That is why we discuss both. The nation of Isa will be on top. Nation of Muhammad under the guidance of Imam Mahdi. So that day, Imam Mahdi is going to lead. There is no comparison. Comparison is if both have any competition. No. Allah has given all blessings to Bani Ismail and Bani Israel, sons of Isaac, sons of Ismail. Allah gave two things, one thing to each. Like Allah gave Asa, stick, to Bani Israel, and Zulfiqar to Bani Ismail. Allah gave Nil as a river to Bani Israel, and Farhat to Bani Ismail. There was one Batul, Maryam, in Bani Israel, and one Batul, Fatima, in Bani Ismail. There was one young man, Fatan, Samena Fatan, Ibrahim. From this generation came another young person, La Fata illa Ali, La Saifa illa Zulfiqar. There were 2 holy houses. Allah gave Baytul Muqaddas to Bani Israel and Baytullah to Bani Ismail. There were 4 books. 3 of them Allah gave to Bani Israel. The holiest book of Allah, Quran, was given to Bani Ismail. So both families are holy families. There is no comparison, but both were thinking who is upgraded one. So when Imam Mahdi will come, Imam Mahdi is Ghaib of Bani Israel and Nabi Eesa is Ghaib of Bani Israel. So we will announce that day if Ghaib of Bani Israel leads the prayer, so Bani Israel were afdal, and if Ghaib of Bani Ismail leads the prayer, Bani Ismail are upgraded. That is why we say Imam Mahdi and Nabi Eesa conference. There is Haji Abu Akil is right. There is no comparison, and there is no comparison with our Imams. Alhamdulillah, they are better than all prophets except Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Now I will request Brother Asad Bujari, if he speaks few words. Asad. Thank you.
Dear participants, Assalamu alaikum. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. This is my 4th year in attendance, and the first year when I attended this conference on the noble leadership of His Excellency Dr.Sakhawat and Hazrat Islam Allama Farhat Moosavi. I was very much impressed and took down the notes which was uttered by the foreign participants on telephone, on direct line, and it was really a very, very different occasion for me. And I intended that I will attend this conference wherever I get chance, and this is the fourth in attendance. And it is really last year I was hearing this speech from Javed Jafri, I suppose he was, and really they took very much labor and very utmost care on the presentation of the speeches, and really so best of their speeches. And I think inshallah, if I get chance, all the conference and these minutes will be taken over if I am under the noble guidance of His Excellency Dr. Sakhawat. And I will just try to publish this in a magazine so that every person or every Momineen from the Momineen and Mominat from this Toronto city and other cities of Canada, they should take part and they should comment on it and literally there are few things which we never know and it's new for us and literally we have to take all this in our note and inshallah we will be taking some benefit of that in future. And once again thanks to His Excellency Dr. Sakhawat and Hazrat Islam Farhat Moosavi and also the participants. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Thank you very much. MashaAllah. Nadeem? Nadeem? You want to speak something, please? Nadeem is here. Okay. I
want to ask
recognize Nadeem also, MashaAllah, as a good participant. May Allah bless him. And also Brother Mujahid Kazmi, who is serving throughout the world his Holy Quran Academy, MashaAllah, as a teacher of Quran and as a servant of community, as Hujjat Hassan Forum servant. I will request him to say a few words and then inshallah we'll end with Brother Asam Zaidi's comments and then inshallah we will read Dua Allama Kulli Waliyaka Hujjat ibn Hassan and that will end our 21st conference. Thank you very much for attending. Please. Mujahid Shirazi. MashaAllah, his projects are very noble projects and he is one of the participants of permanent congregant of Husainiyah. Also let me tell you, those who are watching us online, today alhamdulillah we are very happy that we are having this conference in Husainiyah Masjid. Alhamdulillah.
बिस्मिल्लाहिर्रहमानिर्रहीम। ये बड़ी खुशी की बात है कि हम इस मौके पे दो अजीम हस्तियों का तज़किरा कर रहे हैं कि जो इस वक्त के हमारे लिए उम्मीद का निशान है कि जो इस दुनिया को इसी तरह से अदल व इंसाफ से भर देंगी जिस तरह से हम देखते हैं कि ये जुल्म व सितम और ये जो एक कन्फ्यूजन हर मौके पे और हर शुबह ज़िंदगी में हमें नज़र आता है। तो इंशाअल्लाह हम उम्मीदवार हैं कि ये दो हस्तियाँ इस दुनिया को इसी तरह से अदल व इंसाफ से भर देंगी जिस तरह से ये जुल्म व सितम से भरी हुई नज़र आती है। और इंशाअल्लाह हम कोशिश में हैं और हर लम्हे हम दुआ कर रहे हैं कि जो भी हमें मौका मिलता है हम अपने टाइम को हम अपनी एनर्जी को जुल्म व सितम के खात्मे के लिए और अदल व इंसाफ के इजरा के लिए इस्तेमाल करें। तो बहुत शुक्रिया डॉक्टर सखावत साहब और अल्लामा फरहत मूसवी साहब का कि वो इस तरह के प्रोग्राम मुनक़्क़द करते रहते हैं और वो मौका देते हैं कि कम अज़ कम हम अपने मेमोरीज़ को रिफ़्रेश करें और अपनी तवज्जो को मरकूज़ करें कि किस तरह से हम इस जुल्म व सितम का मुकाबला करने के लिए और अदल व इंसाफ के इजरा के लिए अपने आप को मुहैया और तैयार करें। जज़ाकल्लाह। अस्सलामु अलैकुम।
Thank you very much Brother Mujahid Shirazi. Very nice, well said. अब मैं गुजारिश करूँगा अपने भाई एहसन जैदी से, जिनकी मेहरबानियों से, जिनकी फाइनेंशियल सपोर्ट से और उनकी फाइनेंस रिपोर्ट्स को मैनेज करने से आज हम ये मस्जिद देख रहे हैं। माशाल्लाह ये बहुत ही एक्सपर्ट है और मैं इनसे गुजारिश करूँगा कि ये तशरीफ लाएँ और इसके साथ ही महमूद रिजवी साहब से गुजारिश वो यहाँ आ जाए ताकि अल्लामा कुल नबी हुज्जत हसन के साथ इस कॉन्फ्रेंस का अख्ताम हो। उर्दू कॉन्फ्रेंस के बारे में
ये जो कॉन्फ्रेंस माशाल्लाह से चल रही है अभी, और जो कॉन्फ्रेंस के अंदर जो पार्टिसिपेंट हैं वो खुद इस बात का प्रूफ दे रहे हैं कि ये कॉन्फ्रेंस बहुत कामयाब कॉन्फ्रेंस थी, और इसके अंदर डॉक्टर साहब को बहुत तकलीफ हुई होगी, बहुत दूर से आए हैं, और ये इस कॉन्फ्रेंस को कामयाब बनाने के लिए डॉक्टर साहब के हम लोग तहे दिल से शुक्रगुजार हैं। हम मौलाना फरहत मूसवी साहब के भी बहुत शुक्रगुजार हैं कि इन दोनों की मेहनतों से आज ये हुसैनिया पहचाना नहीं जा रहा है। मुझे कहीं से एक खबर मिली थी, वो कुछ कुवैत के लोग थे, उन्हीं ने कहा कि मैंने सुना है कि आप लोगों ने मस्जिद बनाई है, वहाँ पर पासमोर को मस्जिद में चेंज किया है। हम चाहते हैं कि आप यहाँ पे भी डाउनटाउन के अंदर करेंगे, वो इंशाल्लाह ताला उसकी बात हो जाएगी। और उन्हीं ने इनिशियली कहा है कि हम 2,50,000 डिपॉजिट करने को तैयार हैं, आप इस मस्जिद को मतलब वहाँ पर भी एक मस्जिद के बारे में सोचें डाउनटाउन के अंदर। तो इंशाल्लाह ताला अगर कोई ऐसी बात हुई फ्यूचर के अंदर तो डॉक्टर साहब की ये मेहनतें होंगी, क्योंकि डॉक्टर साहब ने ये सब इसका बेड़ा उठाया, और मौलाना फरहत मूसवी साहब ने भी इतनी मेहनत की है। मौलाना फरहत मूसवी के लिए तो ऐसा लगता था कि मैं जाके बाहर रोया करता था इनको देख के, कि इनकी शक्ल ऐसी हो गई थी, यहाँ पर धूप उसमें बैठते थे हम लोगों के साथ, हम लोग तो चले जाते थे, ये फजर की नमाज पढ़ के दूसरे पूरी यहाँ पर रहते थे और रात को 2-3 बजे जाते थे। इनकी शक्ल पे इतनी मट्टी होती थी यहाँ जो उड़ती थी, हम लोग खुद काम करते थे, और ऐसे कपड़े हो जाते थे। और इनके इस एज के अंदर इस यानी प्रेजेंटली माशाल्लाह से इनकी जो एज है, अल्लाह में और भी इनको हयात दे, उस एज के अंदर इतनी मेहनत इस बात का प्रूफ दे रही है कि ये मस्जिद देखिए डॉक्टर साहब ने और फरहत मूसवी ने इसका बेड़ा उठाया। अल्लाह का शुक्र है कि ये मस्जिद तामीर हुई और ये मस्जिद बनी और इसके अंदर ये कॉन्फ्रेंस हो रही है। मेरी फ्यूचर में दुआ ये है कि ये ऐसी कॉन्फ्रेंस हो जिसमें ये पूरी मस्जिद भरी हुई हो और लोग इसके अंदर दुनिया भर से आए। ये मेरी दुआ है। डॉक्टर साहब के अंदर ये जादू है और मौलाना फरहत मूसवी में ये जादू है कि ये उसको भर सकते हैं। मैं इन लोगों की सेहत के लिए आप लोगों से भी दुआ की अपील करता हूँ और खुद भी करता हूँ, और एक सलवात दीजिए इनकी सेहत के लिए।
बहुत शुक्रिया, थैंक यू।
नजफ़ अशरफ से भी ये चीज़ का तस्करा हुआ है, वहाँ के जो जिम्मेदार हैं वो चाहते हैं कि एक कॉन्फ्रेंस पूरी आलमी हो कहीं पर अमेरिका या कनाडा में, क्योंकि माशाल्लाह इतने सालों से हो रही है कि जिसमें मौला मुत्तक़ियान हज़रत अली अलैहिस्सलाम के बारे में पूरी दुनिया के लोगों को बुलाकर एक कॉन्फ्रेंस की जाए इंशाल्लाह। वो वहाँ के जो जिम्मेदार लोग हैं नजफ़ अशरफ के, उन्होंने एक ऑफर किया है इंशाल्लाह। इंशाल्लाह उस पर भी काम हो रहा है, इसमें हमारे को उनसे भी सपोर्ट मिलेगी, अल्लामा पासवानी साहब से भी मिलेगी सपोर्ट इंशाल्लाह। तो उन लोगों की ख्वाहिश है, जैसा कि आप भी तज़किरा कर रहे थे कि इस मस्जिद को देख कर शिमला से भी एक दो जगह प्रपोजल आए हैं कि वेस्ट एंड में भी चाहते हैं कि मस्जिद बने इंशाल्लाह। ये एक सिलसिला शुरू हो जाएगा, तो उसमें कौम जो है वो नमाज रोज़ा और इबादत और अहले बैत की तरफ दूसरे अंदाज से जाएगी। ये इमाम बारगाह तो माशाल्लाह चलते ही रहे, चलते रहे इंशाल्लाह इसी तरीके से, मगर ये सिलसिला इंशाल्लाह अल्लाह ने चाहा हो जाएगा।
बहुत शुक्रिया जनाब, माशाल्लाह तमाम हजरात ने बहुत उम्दा, ख़ास तौर पे हमारे अल्लामा अलहाज फरहत हुसैन मूसवी साहब का जो खिताब था बहुत ही मुदल्लल था। हम इसको बार बार अल-महदी टीवी पे भी चलाएंगे और आलिम रज़ा इसको इंशाअल्लाह यूट्यूब पे भी डाल देंगे। जो लोग हमें देख नहीं सके वो almahdi.tv.com पे से देख सकते हैं, और इंशाअल्लाह आलिम रजा के टिकर से, आप अगर YouTube पे जाकर आलिम रजा टाइप कर दें ALIMRACA, तो आपको ये कॉन्फ्रेंस कल पूरी की पूरी मिल जाएगी, आप उस पर देख सकते हैं YouTube पे, और टीवी पे भी इंशाल्लाह चलाएंगे। माशाल्लाह बहुत पार्टिसिपेंट्स ने, खासतौर पे स्पीकर्स ने बहुत ही इनकरेजिंग रिमार्क्स दिए। जो लोग हमें ऑनलाइन देख रहे हैं, क्योंकि टोरंटो में नमाज मगरिब का टाइम होने वाला है, लिहाजा हम इससे ज़्यादा आपकी खिदमत में नहीं रह सकते। आज इंशाअल्लाह 7:30 बजे ठीक यहाँ पर जश्न विलादत है सैयदा उम्मे कुलसूम सलावतुल्लाह व सलामुहु अलैहा हो रहा है, बिन्त अमीरुल मोमिनीन, बिन्त सैयदतुन निसाइल आलमीन। तो इसमें खास तौर पर अहलियान टोरंटो से गुजारिश है कि वो शिरकत फरमाएं, पढ़ने वाले सुनने वाले भी। और माशाल्लाह हुसैनिया मस्जिद बन चुकी है अल्लाह के फजल व करम से, और बेहतरीन मस्जिद बन चुकी है। आज की 21वीं कॉन्फ्रेंस इमाम महदी अलैहिस्सलाम एंड नबी ईसा अलैहिस्सलाम हुसैनिया मस्जिद में मुनअक़िद हो रही है। अल्लाह ताला तमाम मोमिनीन मोमिनात को जज़ाए खैर दे जिन्होंने हुसैनिया मस्जिद में ताउन किया। अब हमारा नेक्स्ट प्रोजेक्ट जो है अज़ा खाना ज़हरा, जो हमारी बहनों के लिए हमने 3 हॉल्स को एक बनाना है, उसमें भी गुजारिश है कि अहलियान टोरंटो और दुनिया में से मशरिक़ मगरिब के लोग जो सुन देख रहे हैं, अब तो ये दुनिया ग्लोबल विलेज बन गई है, पहले तो वर्ल्ड थी अब विलेज बन गई है, तो अब सारी दुनिया जानती है कि कहाँ क्या हो रहा है। मैं बल्कि खुशी का ऐलान ये कर रहा हूँ कि एक साहब ने मुझे वेस्ट में कहा, मेरे दोस्त हैं, मेरे हमसाए भी हैं पाकिस्तान में, उन्होंने मुझसे कहा कि मेरा घर है ऑलमोस्ट 6 लाख का, वो मैं आपको देता हूँ, आप बेचकर मस्जिद बना दें वेस्ट एंड में। अब लोगों का रुझान हो रहा है। आज की इस कॉन्फ्रेंस का आखिरी मैसेज ये है, इमाम महदी एंड नबी ईसा कॉन्फ्रेंस, मिलादुस सादिक़ैन का भी मौका है, मिलाद मुबारक के बीबी उम्मे कुलसूम अलैहिस्सलाम का भी मौका है। तो इस मौके पर मैं गुजारिश करूंगा, कहीं भी अगर नॉर्थ अमेरिका में कोई हमारे बहन भाई चाहते हो कि हम उनको मस्जिद बना दें, तो हम हाजिर हैं। हमारी कोई इन्वॉल्वमेंट नहीं होगी कतई तौर पे, ना ऑफिशियली ना फाइनेंशियली, हम आपकी खिदमत करेंगे, पैसे भी आपको लेके देंगे। मसाजिद बननी चाहिए शिया कौम में, मसाजिद आबाद होनी चाहिए, जुमा जमात में रौनक होनी चाहिए, डेली कुरान मजीद के सेशन होने चाहिए, दुरूस तफसीर होने चाहिए, ताकि मोहम्मद व आले मोहम्मद के जो मानने वाले हैं उनका अमली पैगाम भी आगे जाए और दुनिया मीडिया में देखे कि शिया कितने किरदार वाले हैं और कितने खुदाम कुरान और गुलामान अहले बैत हैं। बहुत शुक्रिया, आपने हमें वॉच किया। अब हम अपने आखिरी मरहले में जा रहे हैं। आप सबके लिए हम ढेर सारी दुआएं करते हैं। अल्लाह इमाम महदी एंड नबी ईसा कॉन्फ्रेंस के सदके में आप तमाम हजरात और ख़वातीन को हिफ्ज़ व अमान में रखे, आपके मरहूमीन की मग़फ़िरत हो, जिन्होंने आज खिदमत की है, लंच दिया है, जिन्होंने आज ये हमारी नशरियात पूरी दुनिया में भेजी है, जो हमारे भाई ऑलमोस्ट जुमा से यहाँ पर हैं, 12 बजे से यहाँ बैठे हैं। अल्लाह ताला इन सबको जज़ाए खैर दे और इस कॉन्फ्रेंस के बानी और सदर जनाब अल्लामा अलहाज फरहत हुसैन मूसवी साहब की ज़िंदगी दराज फरमाए और हुसैनिया मस्जिद के बानियान मुतवल्ली समेत सबको अल्लाह जज़ाए खैर दे। जाफर जाफरी मुतवल्ली को अल्लाह सेहत कामिला और आजिला अता फरमाए और हमारी बहनों के लिए जो अज़ा खाना ज़हरा बनने जा रहा है, अल्लाह हमें तौफीक दे, हम उसे बनाएं और तमाम शियान अली को अल्लाह अपनी हिफ्ज़ व अमान में रखे। जिन शियान अली को आज बल्कि कल की तारीख हो गई है, कल रावलपिंडी में शहीद किया गया, उनके दर्जात बुलंद हो और उनको शुहदाए करबला के साथ अल्लाह महशूर फरमाए और दहशत गर्दों को नेस्त व नाबूद करे। दाइश का कब्जा शाम और इराक से खत्म हो, बहरैन से खुद साख्ता खलीफा का कब्जा खत्म हो, यमन, मलेशिया, सऊदी अरब, अफगानिस्तान वगैरह में जो दहशत गर्दी हो रही है पाकिस्तान में, वो खत्म हो और तमाम दहशतगर्द फिन्नार हो और तमाम शियान अली और मुहिबान अहले बैत अहले सुन्नत भी महफूज हो, मसून रहे, बल्कि पूरी इंसानियत खा वो मुसलमान हो गैर मुस्लिम हो, वो महफूज रहे और आका करीम का पैगाम अमन कायनात में फैल जाए। अल्लाह इमाम ज़माना के ज़ुहूर में ताजील फरमाए اور اللہ میں توفیق دے ہم امام زمانے کی فوج میں شامل ہونے کی کوالٹی شرائط اور اوصاف کے ساتھ متصف ہو سکے. ربنا تقبل منا انك انت السميع العليم. دعائے کھڑے ہو جائیں گے احترام حضرت.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. كل وليك الحجة ابن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا حتى تسكنه أرضك طوعا وتمتعه فيها طويلا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين.
بند کر دیجیے. عالم رضا صاحب اس مائک کو بند کر دیں. سب ٹی وی پہ جو آ گیا ٹی وی تو لائن دونوں سے کمال کر رہا ہے. اچھا وہ کچھ ہمارے شاگرد بھی آ گئے, بلال آ گئے, وسیم عباس آ گئے, ٹھیک ہو گیا. اچھا احمد حسین بھی آ گئے. یہ غلطی ہو گئی ویکینڈ ہاں نہیں ہو گیا کاروائی ہو گئی. بہت اچھا بہت اچھا یہ بڑا اچھا بڑا خوبصورت یہ نئی چیز ہو گئی. اب اس کو یہ ہے کہ ٹی وی پہ اس کو ہم بار بار چلائیں گے, ڈیلی چلائیں گے ہاں اس کو ہم الیکٹرانکلی کر کے لے آتے ہیں. ہائی بھی دیکھیے ڈیجیٹل کر رہے ہیں آج کل لائٹ ہو رہی ہے, آج کل بہت ہو رہا ہے. نماز کے بعد ہو گیا ہو گیا ہو گیا وضو کرنے کا کیا علی اذان کہیے. یہ
اس
کو ہم کریں۔
سنیوں کی طرف سے جب بھی پارٹیسپیشن اتنا نہیں ہوتا اور
اچھا بلا ہلکا ہے یہ بدی حدیث اور وردی کا اولاد ہے تو یہ بات ہے
وہ میں کہنا ہوں اس کو وہ ہے نا نہیں ہے وہ اب وہاں بند کیا